And as a final question, NLP is moving into the future.
Yeah.
Where do you see it moving to? Or where would you like to see it moving?
Well, you know, we have this idea at our, with Judith Delosier, who's one of the other contributors in our NLP University. We talk about NLP going through different generations, and the sort of the first generation being mostly focused on sort of cognitive things, submodalities, language patterns. Mm-hmm. The second generation kind of expanding more to somatic things, using the body much more. And John's new code also was much more about kind of the whole wisdom of the body. And we say that kind of the third generation is now, because NLP started, in the framework of therapy, which was sort of one-on-one, mm-hmm. I'm the therapist, I'm supporting you. But as certainly as I've gone into businesses, and I was actually, interestingly enough, when I got involved in NLP, I was studying politics. I wasn't actually interested in interpersonal change. I was interested in big global change, big change. And so we say like this third generation of NLP is now there's a focus more and more on, and not only in NLP, but in other fields too, on this notion of a field, and a field meaning it's not just me, and it's not just you, it's not my brain or even my feeling, it's that there's something, there's a resonance that happens. And I think like with NLP, it wasn't Bandler and it wasn't Grinder. You can't say, well, and I remember, David Gordon and I have talked about this and others. You can't say, well, John contributed that, and then this was Richard's, and this was, you don't know whose it was because it didn't come out of Richard or John, it came out of Richard and John. I mean, it was the field between. So when you get into certain, especially deeply generative places, and even in my work with geniuses, the genius says, it isn't really my idea, right? It comes to me or mm-hmm. through me, but it's not from me in that sense. So I think, to me, what I find, I call it collective intelligence or generative collaboration. And it's really kind of right now, I think the holy grail, if you will, of businesses is mm-hmm. it's not about individual excellence, individual creativity, individual, performance. It's this idea of 1 + 1 makes 3, and that's the generative principle, and that's the principle of not, it goes sort of beyond the individual, but includes, the idea of it is the individual has to be absolutely present, absolutely in the place of excellence, but then you're participating and contributing to something more than the individual, right? So that, and then this, Gregory Bateson used to talk about, he said that the individual mind, he said, is immanent, meaning it's not a separate thing, it comes out. Mm-hmm. And he said, but not only from the body, but from the pathways and messages outside of the body.
And through relationships.
And through relationships, so that there's an intelligence in the relationship, not just in me and in you, but in the relationship. And to me, I think that's where NLP is really beginning to harvest, because up until now, it seems like it's magic, it's voodoo, it's weirdo stuff. Just like NLP used to be, that people, visualization used to be years ago. But I think this is the place that we have to grow a lot. And, I always like to point out, Erickson was a loner, Pearls was a loner, Virginia Terry was a loner. NLP kind of suffers from being a bunch of loners who have a difficult time sometimes cooperating. Yeah. But so I think that there's this kind of field intelligence, and I think that hopefully the Dutch Association is a good example of field intelligence, which includes everybody, includes all these different perspectives, in the origin. But it doesn't have to say this one's right, that one's wrong. It's like, okay, they're all a point of view, but like Bateson would say, all those different perspectives, there's a pattern that connects. Yeah. And I think that to me is the exciting next stage, the pattern that connects.
Thank you so much, Robert.
You're very welcome, Bo. You're very welcome.